What's happening, everyone? My name is Mike at Filmboy24, and thank you for tuning in. You probably can't see me. Yeah, you can. I guess I don't need to tell you what today's episode will be all about. It will be about, I'm going to tell you anyway, the beauty or not so beauty of the Wolverine film to digital and Wolverine Movie Maker Pro film transfer units. I know there's a lot of discussion all over the internet about good, bad, how are they? Can you use them professionally? Are they just hobbyists? Are they toys? Are they crap? Can you eat them? You can't, I tried. But what we're going to do today is dispel some myths, at least for me. I've had these two units for quite a while now, and we'll go over them and we will compare some footage and we'll talk about the pros and cons. And let's delve right in. When I'm not gonna bore you with unboxing them and everything. I'm gonna boom. There we go. There it is. Beautiful. Unboxed. This is the original Wolverine film to digital movie maker scanner, and it's designed to scan Super 8 and 8mm film only. Oh, we just hit the microphone. Sorry. First thoughts. The build quality is a little cheap. It's plastic for the most part. As you can see, the size of the machine in relation to my head. My head's probably bigger. Came with an instruction manual, a set of Super 8 adapters, a duster brush. And if you've been working in film for any length of time whatsoever, you probably got 60 or 80 of these things. An SD card. It will accept SD cards up to 32 gigabytes only. It included a 5-inch take-up reel for 8 and or Super 8. It included a USB cable, as well as a video out cable. This was for monitoring what you were doing on your television. It's just an RCA. Anyway, and it came with the power adapter, which I have plugged in down here. And I'll show you the rear of the machine. It essentially has port for the USB, a port for your TV out, which is your little RCA cable, a slot for your SD card, and the 9-volt power outlet, which we are going to plug in now. Okay, so the premise behind this little machine was simply your feed reel goes on this side. It literally gets thread under one little roller. You pop the gate open. You thread your film under here, which I'm going to show you how in a minute. You go through the rollers and then you go back up onto your take-up reel. Easy, right? Actually, it is really easy. Now, I'm going to first say I've had really good luck with this little machine. In fact, I've had better luck with this little 720p machine than I have with my 1080 Pro machine. It's really been kind of flawless. Now, that's in terms of its operation, not necessarily in terms of its final product. And I'll explain that in a minute. Let's get a film reel loaded. Now this is a 50-foot reel of film, which has been shot already and developed. This is a random roll of film. Now I have some old movies and whatnot that were professionally done, but I figured for this test it might be better to show you. This was like an estate find, somebody's film. I feel like it's more realistic to what most people are going to be transferring. So to get started, we've plugged the unit in. Now this is Super 8, so with Super 8, the hole is bigger than on an 8mm reel, and I can quickly show you the difference. This is a 200-foot reel or 5-inch reel of regular 8, and you can see the difference in the center hole. Or maybe you can't. At any rate, this was the maximum size that a machine like this could handle, as you can see here. Otherwise, anything bigger would hit the post and the machine itself. Now the Pro unit went up to a 7-inch reel, which was a 400-foot reel, and I'll explain the travesty that was trying to transfer 400-foot reels in just a little bit. So you would put the red adapter on the red post. You don't need an adapter on this side because your take-up reel it's got an 8mm center hole, and it doesn't matter when it comes to the take-up. It doesn't matter. You got to find the spot there. Okay. All right. Now what you do is you just follow the little pattern here. You snap your reel on. Now I will say these are free. This side is free spinning, which I really don't like. I mean, I understand cost effective, I suppose, but sometimes, especially when you develop your own film and you spool it up, a lot of times when you set it on here, it just goes and it unspools, and that's no fun. You open your gate. There's a little guide here that tells you your film goes underneath these two tabs in the back. Now I'll give you a close-up view here. You can see these two tabs, and your film goes underneath the two tabs. Now I'm going to thread it, and then I'll... And then you snap the... Whoa, that wasn't me, I promise. And then you snap the cover back on. And then you continue to follow your little guides here. It's been a while since I've used this machine. And then you simply hook it into your take-up reel. Put a little bend in the end of it. It'll hold in there better. There we go. Works a lot better when you have leader. Some films don't have leader, some films do. And then I just get it. Get the leader out of there. And I always match it up to the first frame, close it down. Now, it'll do 8mm film, and it will do Super 8mm film. And this is your selector guide, and all it really does is it moves this little plate forward or backward about a 7/1000th of an inch. Maybe a little more than that. So we're using a Super 8 reel. So we slip it over to Super 8 film, and we're essentially good to go. The last thing you need to do is insert your SD card into the back. You simply put it into the slot, snap it in, and you're ready to go. That's it. That's it. Your little control board up here has power, it has menu, it has up and down, and it has an enter button or start and stop. Those are very, very simple. And you'll get a little menu, a little LCD readout here. So you fire up the unit. Ta-da! And you can see the image. See the little image on the screen? And it's essentially loading it up. You want to look at your image, and now you want to get it, make sure it's framed, make sure it's zoomed in or zoomed out to where you want. So you will move your coffee, and then you will hit the menu button. And here are your menu options. You have record, which means it's ready to go. You just hit your start button and you're ready to record. You have playback, which shows you the files that you've already got recorded on your SD card. You have rewind, to rewind the film clearly. Your exposure, you can go up or down a little bit on your exposure. I usually like to leave it on auto. You have sharpness. You have USB. You have your frame adjuster. So if you hit frame adjust, it'll click. It'll give you your frame. Now you can go right, left. We're going to go right a little bit. Enter it, and then you can go up and down. Enter it, and then this is your zoom in and zoom out. That's zooming in, and that's zoom out. So you can, in essence, you can kind of overscan a little bit with these guys, which I'm going to try to do. You can see the perforation there on the left-hand side. Anyway, we'll call that good enough just for this test. You hit enter. Oh, and then you go back to menu, and it's ready to go. Now, if you want to get back into the menu, you hit menu again. You have your frame adjust, you have your language, you have your format. You don't want to do that while you're in the middle of transferring. That's format for formatting the SD card. So you want to hit no for that. And that is default settings and version. That's the software version in here. So we'll hit record. It'll ask you one more time, are you ready? And you will hit yes or enter. Now this machine operates at about 2 frames per second. So a 50-foot reel of film typically takes right around 30 minutes. So that would give you about 2 hours to transfer a 5-inch reel or 200 feet of footage. So we will start and you will see exactly what this machine does. Now, there's a little claw underneath the gate, and this little claw just circulates, and it pulls every frame of film into the region that gets photographed, right into your, your little window there, over the light source, takes a photograph, and it pulls the next frame. And it does that at 2 frames per second. So it's, it's definitely not a super fast machine, but it's a little bit quicker than, just taking photos of it. Now, the good and the bad. The good is it's pretty reliable. I've had really good luck with this, and it doesn't do sound, only does silent film. The bad, the output quality. Let me preface by saying, if all you're doing is transferring your old home movies and whatnot, it does a fair job. If you're doing it professionally, I wouldn't recommend it. It's an MP4 format output, 720p on this unit, and it's very compressed, and it's very artifacty. So I guess it's good for a hobbyist, for having fun. This is the first unit I've had when I was shooting a lot of my own Super 8. Now, we didn't have these back in the 80s. It would have been fun to have back in the 80s shooting Super 8, but I've had this unit for a few years, and it's been great for testing my developing and stuff like that. And really, that's the only reason I haven't used it in quite a while. I have the Pro unit, and I also have the Retro Scan. But as far as this unit goes, would I recommend it? Yes and no. I would recommend it for somebody that's a hobbyist and wants to stay on the really low budget end. And if you want to shoot short films or just experimental films and you're developing the film yourself and you want to transfer it, knock yourself out, because that's what this is for. Doesn't transfer negative film natively. The Pro unit does. It actually has a setting in the menu for transferring negative film, and it turns it to a positive. But it's very easy to do in your editing software. I've transferred tons of my negative film with this unit, and I put it into Vegas, and you just invert it, so it works fine. At any rate, that's it. There you have it. I'm going to show you some results of this film. Colors are actually not too bad. I guess that's one of the things I really do like about this, is it renders the colors pretty well. And when you're done, we'll just stop it right here. When you're finished, you can hit the enter button, and you can see mine has 262 on the counter reel, by the way. I haven't transferred 262 reels with this unit. Maybe 150, but not 262. I did buy it used because I'm a cheapskate. But there was only about 40 on the counter when I bought it. So anyway, you hit the enter button to stop it. You take it out of the gate. Whoa, 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 easy little buddy. And then you want to take it out of the guide reels. For rewinding, take it out of the guide reels, close your gate. You actually have to swap the reels to rewind. I forgot about that. And I got to put this was a pain. and you got to put this adapter on here, and you got to take this one off, and you have to swap your reels to rewind back onto your original reel. This goes here, and this one goes here. You want it underneath that roller, and then you want it to rewind. Go. Now you're rewinding back onto your original reel. Now it's quite slow, but I'll show you what I did with the Pro unit as it relates to the source reel that like to spin and spin and spin and lose your film. It's a very simple fix. For me it was. You hit the enter button to stop. Turn it off. It says bye. Pop out your card, and your digitized film is now on this card, and we will show you the footage here in a few minutes. Now, that's the absolute basics to this little Wolverine unit right here. This is the original. Now, from here, let's take a look at the Pro unit. Boom, there it is, the Pro unit. This one is capable of 400-foot reels. Whew. By the way, the build quality, I'd say much better than the original unit. A lot of this is, sounds like plastic. Yeah, that back is plastic. I think the front is actually metal. The reel, the feed reel is metal. This front facing is all metal, whereas the other unit was plastic. It's a very similar unit. It still outputs on at MP4 quality, 1080p. So it's still a very compressed format. Very much similar in its inputs. Has the USB for transferring from your SD card directly to your computer. Has the TV out, which is the RCA AV plug, or the video plug, no audio. Is the SD port, and it also has your AC power in. Okay, let's talk for a second about the menu on this one. This one actually does allow for black and white negative or color negative film, where it actually inverts the image in the software, which is kind of neat. This is supposed to handle up to 7-inch reels, which would be a 400-foot reel. I'll show you. Just like on the last one, this is the 5-inch reel. As you can see, plenty of clearance. And this is the 7-inch reel. There's no film on this one, but I just want to show you the reel. Come on. There's a 7-inch reel. Oh, I take it back. It will hold up to a 9-inch reel. Ooh, 600 feet of film. So yeah, it'll hold up to a 9-inch reel. I don't have any 9-inch reels here, I don't think, where I would show you, but it easily clears. Let me tell you a little something about the 9-inch reels though, and the 7-inch reels on this particular unit. I had a lady that asked me to transfer a whole bunch of 8mm regular 8 film for her, and my original intent was to use this Pro unit because I could set it and sort of just forget it. I put the first reel on there, and I'm pretty sure they were the 7-inch reels. They may have been 9-inch reels. It's been a while, so I don't remember. The weight of the reel just, it didn't work. It absolutely was disastrous. It would pull, it would break sprocket holes, a little pin was pulling. This weight over here was just too much. It absolutely didn't work. I didn't even get through one reel, and I finally took everything off and put it on my movie stuff. Retro scan and did it, 15 times quicker and better. At any rate, I would not recommend anything more than about a 200-foot reel over here. I know it's advertised as bigger, but I'm telling you, it bogs down really easy. With that in mind, I had trouble initially with the claw slipping inside here. There's the same little pin claw that actually it cycles like this, and it grabs your sprocket, your perforation in your film, and it draws it forward 2 frames every second and takes pictures of it. Well, it wasn't really grabbing it, it was like scraping at it, and called the company and they said try to tighten these little screws up here, which is very difficult to do, but I was able to tighten it, and it helped. It helped a lot. So that sort of fixed that issue. And then you do have an issue sometimes with your final product kind of skipping. I don't know if that's just the placement of the sprocket is maybe a little bit different each time, or if it's skipping sprockets, or it's sticking on sprockets. It's very hard to tell sometimes, but I know some of the footage just wasn't even watchable. But if you can get it to run flawlessly, these 50-foot reels usually work really well. If you can get it to run through the whole 50 feet with no trouble, then your footage actually comes out looking pretty darn good. And I'll again show you some at the end of the video here. I'll compare the two. But we're gonna mount this up. This is the one we used just a few minutes ago in the original unit. So let's mount this up, and we'll go through some of the settings that we have over there as well. So we'll put on our take-up reel. This is again Super 8, so we need our Super 8 adapter on this side. You snap on your reel. Now I'm going to turn this around. Now the feed here is a tiny little bit different. It's a little bit harder to get it underneath the tabs under here. They've added a tab in the front, which is actually kind of neat because it holds the film down a little bit better. But it takes another minute or two to get it in there. Let me see here. And I'll flip it around in a second and show you. Get that. There's a little guide. Kind of shows you how you should be doing it. I don't usually follow the guide. I'm not real good with directions. Yay. Okay, once you've got it basically threaded, what it is there's 3 tabs. There's 2 tabs in the front. There's one here, I'll give you a close-up, and one in the back. And your film has to actually be tucked underneath each of those 3 tabs. Once you have that done, you need to thread your film just like the diagram says. You need to thread it over and under the rollers. Now, they did add a 4th roller on the take-up side, and it's got a little bit of felt or something on the end, or rubberized to kind of protect the film. And then you go here, strap it in. Now you see what I mean here. I was having an issue with my film constantly doing this. And I don't like that, because if you want to leave it, it gets a little bit dangerous. Your film goes everywhere, and I don't think you're really supposed to turn this reel like this, but I do. Then you close your gate. And again, this one will do Super 8 and regular 8. We're doing Super 8, so you switch it over to Super 8. And once you get your card in to the back, it's ready to go. It's really simple to use. And by the way, you're supposed to kind of blow out the gate before you load your film. I usually forget, but it's ready to go. So let's fire it up. It'll do the same thing. It'll kick on. It'll move it a frame or two. And it'll give you your first picture. Now, it's auto-focused. You don't have to focus both units. There's no focus control whatsoever. So if it's a little out of focus, there's really not much you can do about it. So we'll get into our menu here. There is your record, your playback, your rewind. Those are all the same. Exposure, sharpness, and the USB, the same. Frame adjust, your language, and format the card. But then you have your film type. Now if we go into film type, you have movie positive and you have movie negative. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll give you a close-up. No, you have movie positive and movie negative. Now we have loaded up a movie positive. This is an old Kodachrome film, I'm pretty sure. So we'll leave it on movie positive. There, enter, and then we have the software version, and we're back to good. So the newest setting on this is, sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. The newest setting on this one is positive or negative, which to me is a big advanced feature for these little units, because for guys like me that shoot a lot of black and white film and I process it as a negative, this is perfect. Okay, so we're pretty much set to go. We go back to record, we hit enter one more time, and then boom, ready to go, and it should start. Now this reel started to move on me a lot, where it would, as it would pull down a little, it would do that. Only it would do it a lot worse with films that I shot. I simply took a little painter's tape, stuck it to the top here, sideways, with a little piece of cardboard that touched the reel. Now, you don't want to push on it real hard, but just a little piece that touches the reel. No more spinning. Nothing. Perfect. Perfect. I'm a genius. Well, not really. Capture in 1 frame at a time, or 2 frames per second. Now, one thing I didn't talk about with the last unit, both of these units output at a set frames per second. The other unit, the original 720 unit, outputs at 20 frames per second. This unit outputs at 30 frames per second. If you want that changed, you have to do all of that in your software. It didn't seem to be a huge deal to me. I imported everything into my editing software anyway, so it wasn't a deal breaker for me. Does a fairly decent job. Now, would I recommend this unit? Yes. I would recommend the Pro unit. I think it's a great little unit for, he said unit. It's a great little unit for short films, experimental films, family transfers of old films. I know there are people that are using these machines professionally to do transfers. I don't know that I would recommend that. With that in mind, yeah, I'd recommend them, but they do have a purpose in life. And their purpose in life is not, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's not for the professional world. With that, let's take a peek at the difference now between the Pro unit, which is still going strong. Now, I didn't adjust this. I didn't adjust the framing. The framing is going to be a little bit off on this and probably on the other one as well. I didn't get into too much adjusting just for the purpose of this video. So let's take a peek at what this can output. And that's it. I hope you learned something. That's my take on the difference between the original 720p unit and the newer 1080p Pro unit. If you did learn a little something, or if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and annihilate that like button. How about subscribe? Can you do that for me? How about leave me a comment? Is there something you didn't like? You don't like my hair? I'm okay with that. Leave me a comment and let me know. If you got a question, let me know. If I screwed something up really badly, which is seriously, and I doubt, let me know. I'll fix it. Maybe. But it's just like my great aunt on my third cousin-in-law side used to always tell me. Eat more vegetables and shoot more film. I at least agree with one of them. Until next time, see you on the next go around.